Hey everybody, Nick with Sync Logistics Training. In today's video, we're going to talk about the importance of creative problem solving when it comes to covering tough loads. And to start out, let's just acknowledge a couple of quick facts. Fact one, problem loads exist. You're going to have some loads that you accept that for one reason or another are just going to be impossible to get covered. Fact two, those loads unfortunately still need to be covered somehow, right? So sometimes you just need to get a little bit creative with the solution that you're providing. And the people who do that and do that well are the ones who are going to be successful in the industry. Let's look at a really quick example to kind of illustrate this point. Say you're an account manager and you're just dying on a tough load, right? This load picks up today, the shipper is in the middle of nowhere, the transit time doesn't work well, you don't have enough money in it, and you waited too long for a good option, so now this load picks up in like an hour. All in, this load just sucks, but you still need to somehow get it moved. You can't give it back. That's not how the industry works. So what do? You go to your carrier sales team, and they all give you kind of the usual responses. There's nobody posted. The transit doesn't work. You underquoted this. You should give this load back. A lot of what I would call like average to low level carrier sales reps or newer reps are going to give these types of answers, and they're just not helpful at all. Luckily, one of your company's high performing reps hears you're having a problem and decides to pop in. What do they say? Well, they make a few phone calls and go, hey, I don't have anyone who can pick this load up today. At this point, everyone's too far away to make an on-time pick, and you've told us it's an extremely strict cutoff at whatever the time is. What I do have is a carrier who can make this pickup first thing tomorrow morning and still make an on-time delivery. You're going to lose $200, but we're going to get this load picked up and delivered. You see how this response is different from the ones we saw on the previous slide? It's not the solution you want, but it is a solution to the problem. And this response is why this person's a high performer. Before we go to the next slide, I do want to point out in this note here that this is way more nuanced than I'm making it seem in 5 minutes. If there's any conceivable way to pick this load up today, you should obviously pick the load up today. If your creative solution is bringing in an out-of-service carrier and seeing if they'll load the truck, again, that obviously doesn't work. There's a time and place for this, and there's more nuance to it. But this ability to creative problem solve is part of what makes high performers high performers. Why? Well, because the people who consistently bring these solutions to the table, they become the go-to person to cover tough loads. Account managers recognize this, so these reps are paid back with higher margin freight. And finally, their booking numbers go through the roof because everyone wants this person to cover their freight. So if you see tough freight on the board, I guess the point of this is get creative and just see if you can make something work. You're going to see a ton of benefits from doing that in the long run. Final slide. If you thought this was useful or interesting, we go into a lot more detail on this and a ton of other topics in our brokerage training. So for more information, check out our website or shoot me an email. We'd love to show you what we're building.